Welcome to Vinexposium podcast on Wines of the Future. Where are we coming from? Where are we now? And where are we heading? My name is Gabrielle Vizzavona, and with top international experts, we'll be discussing the past, present, and future of the wine industry fast forwarding 50 years. We're very happy to welcome Laurent David, head of the association Wine Tech, that gathers more than 100 digitally inclined wine startups for Vinexpo Wines of the Future talk on how Web3 can assist the world of wine through the blockchain and the use of NFTs. Hello, Laurent. How are you?
Hello, Gabrielle. I'm fine. And you?
Very good. For 20 years, you had a career in tech as head of Nokia Europe, then at Apple, where you launched the iPhone all over European countries. You are French from Bergerac, and you decided in 2019 to settle down not so far in Saint-Emilion, where you acquire a boutique Grand Cru Classé called Château Edmus. In 2020, you found the association Wine Tech that first gathered 30 wine-related startups. There are today 110 to reflect around how Web3 could impact all the industry. During the 23 edition of Vinexposium, you launched the White Book, which gathered thoughts on how tech can impact traceability, royalties, experience, distribution, and even environment, just to name a few. To start with, Laurent, these words, NFT, blockchain, they can frighten a lot of people, including me, as it's intangible. Could you define them with very simplistic words?
Yeah, well, in tech, we love acronyms, three letters that means something that nobody can understand but us. So, in fact, this is a very, very simple thing. NFT, it's non-fungible token, if you want to know exactly what it is. But the idea is just a proof of ownership. In wine business, that's a way to prove that you own a bottle. So the bottle is stored somewhere in a warehouse. And what you have in your hands is a digital file that shows the evidence that you own that bottle. It is as simple as that.
Is there always a physical bottle, actually? Because I heard that some NFTs, when we relate it to art, there's this dimension of something that does not exist physically. Could it be the same for wine?
Theoretically, yes. But what's the point, right? A bottle is something physical. At the end of the day, you should drink and enjoy and share. So in the case of non-existent bottle, it doesn't mean anything. So people can, of course, there will always be people who will try to have NFT, which are just virtual, but the majority of them will be totally physical.
And what about the blockchain? How does it protect the whole thing?
Blockchain is a very simple concept, and that has changed everything. In fact, that's the base, what's needed for NFTs to exist. Think about a register, right? Take a paper, you write things on it. For example, for a bottle, you can write everything about the traceability. So when was it made? Was it a bottle? What about the grapes? What was the harvest period? A lot of data you can have into a book, a paper. This paper goes into a book, and when the book is filled, it's a block, and you put that block on a shelf, and you attach that block to the previous block, and then you start a new block, writing new information. So, for example, when the bottle was traveling from the origin to a first warehouse, and then going to a wholesaler, and then so you can trace the movement of that bottle on a new block. And once again, when that block is filled in, it goes into the shelves and attached to the previous one. So you have a chain of block of information that you can't change, you can't amend, you can't destroy. So that is the proof of evidence of the traceability, what happened to that bottle, when, and you can rewind a little bit the history of that bottle and check if it was properly stored, if it's a real one. There's a lot of advantages of using that technology.
So you say it can't be destroyed, but like digitally, we have problems of hacking as well, things like that. How can't it be destroyed?
So the way that blockchain was built is very simple. Imagine that, in fact, this information is stored into not only one computer, but many computers, and it is duplicated at a very high speed. So in these computers, all connected all over the world, it's the same information, and it recompiled every minute, every second. So you can't go into one piece, try to modify it because it is done on the other side on other computers in the same way. So it's a way that you use the multiplicity of a chain of a very complex model, and you can't enter that piece, try to modify it without the others to know about it. So that is the principle. It's speed and interconnection that makes it totally
Impossible to crack.
impossible to modify, to amend, to destroy.
What are the different tools in hand as these technologies bring, and at which level can they help wine estates?
In the wine tech, we identified in the book you mentioned, this white paper, we identified 10 items where this technology can impact the wine world. So we talked a little bit about traceability, but also there's something that we call smart contracts. So whenever a bottle is sold and resold into the crypto world, so using crypto money like Bitcoin, Ether, this kind of technology, there's a share of that sales that can go back straight to the people that kind of create the NFT. So it's a way for winemakers to get a little share of the sales while the wine is being sold and resold to other people. So that is a very, very interesting mean for winemakers that makes big efforts to produce great wines at lower price. And that's a great way to a little bit limit people to speculate on these wines.
Could we forbid speculation actually through these contracts?
There's always a way to probably take your bottle out of the blockchain, out of the NFT, and resell it onto a kind of black market. So, but then you lose all the information about, is it a real bottle, the authenticity, the traceability. You can break that, of course, unchain it if you want, and sell it onto a black market. So that's 100% is not possible. But that's the interest of sellers and buyers that know exactly what is that bottle that is that they were dreaming of, that is probably expensive, and yet you want to know that it's a real one. You want to know it's been properly managed during its lifetime, and breaking this could create also people attention that it might be a fake one as well. So it's better to stay within the blockchain. So 100% is not possible. So we have those 10 points, right? And please have a look at our white paper or the book, and you can understand exactly what we mean by impacting the world of wine with these technologies.
Wine and spirits are a lot based on tradition, heritage, culture. How alert are winemakers about the potentiality offered by digital solutions? Are we late in the use of these tools?
It's a very interesting question because we usually think about the world of winemakers, spirits as a kind of something that is super ancient, and people do things as it was done many, many, many years ago. On one side, it is absolutely true, but on the other side, and me as a winemaker, I figured it out very, very quickly when I used to meet other winemakers. Winemakers are people that always are searching for the way to improve, innovate, make better their wine, their spirits. So if you visit a winemaker, there's always somewhere on the field a try they are doing to improve something, to do something different, something new. It's a continuous process. So when you come with whether it's technology or ways to do things different, to improve it, there's always attention. There's always a room for a test. So now, will it go massive? Will it be adopted? That's a long story, and probably you and I should talk about a few years to see what was the real impact. But at least there's a lot of interest. There's a lot of question. A lot of people are coming to us, visited us on the show in Paris, and the attention was just enormous. The number of downloads of the white paper is just fantastic. So that shows an interest. What will be the speed of adoption? Question mark.
You actually tested NFTs on your wine estate, Château Edmus, a Grand Cru Classé from Saint-Emilion. Could you explain what was about this experiment?
I have myself this spirit of testing and improving all the time. So, we did something very, very simple. We have two wines in Château Edmus. We have the Grand Cru, and we have a one which is more a natural wine without any sulfite, and it's of course bioorganic. So we did 20 magnums. We manufactured 20 magnums of that second wine, which is very, very pure. It's 100% Cabernet. And we worked with a tattoo artist to design 20 different labels. So
What's his
Dimitri.
name?
It's Dimitri HK. Is a superstar into the tattoo world. I mean, you have to wait 2 years to get him to tattoo you. He's a real artist, definitely, and he's very, very famous. And he loves our wine. And we had a chat one day, and it's okay. Why don't you try to do something on wine labels? And he was, of course, super enthusiastic. He loves to go a little outside of the skin and try different stuff. So he produced 20 magnificent, very, very, very unique labels for us. Those labels, of course, we digitalize them, and each label becomes then an NFT. So we sold those 20 NFT. In fact, we sold only 10 because we wanted to make a test in the test. So we sold only 10 with one of the brilliant startup in La Wine Tech, which is called Ideal Wines. They are the worldwide leader in terms of sales of secondhand wines. They're an amazing audience all over the world. And we started on auction with a €1, $1 price. And of course, I was super anxious because, if it doesn't work, I could have lost a lot of time and probably money as well. But it was totally the contrary. The interest was just raising. We saw the price going up from, almost €1,000 for the first bottle the first day. And at the end of the 9 days, the first bottle reached the price of €5,300. I mean, it's just amazing, which made us more expensive than Lafite Rothschild Magnum of year 2000. So we were a little bit proud that we were the 8th most expensive bottle sold last year in France on second-hand market.
Were you the first one in the world to do this experiment?
Yes, the way we did it, yes. There was already some trials. Château Edmus, for example, they made one test with one barrel. Dom Pérignon made a test with Lady Gaga with limited production as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of trials, a lot of tests happening as we speak, and more is coming. We have a lot of startups and wineries that are launching NFT projects right now. Château Patrick Clément, for example, a winery, Grand Cru Classé in Pessac-Léognan just launched a club. Mm-hmm. So there's different ways to do NFTs and this kind of project. But in the way we did it, yes, it was our first premiere, and we were the first one to do that.
Is it just a trend, or can it actually change the landscape fully?
Future will tell. But our own feeling is that it's so adapted to the problems that we have in the wine world, this is bringing real solutions. It has a real impact. I mean, we talked a bit about traceability, but it's a new way to distribute wines. It's a new way to really control the price, to limit the fake wines. When you do this kind of thing, you resell not the bottle itself, but the ownership title, which is the NFT. It means that the bottle will still remain in the same warehouse. It's not moving. So the carbon footprint of a bottle, which is something pretty big, it's heavy, it's risky to make it travel. These bottles remain in the same place with the right temperature, the right light as well. So very good humidity conditions. It's just the title of ownership that is traveling, the NFT. So the bottle stays in the same place. So the carbon footprint of a bottle is just almost zero during that period. So that has a big impact on the environment. It also, a new channel of communication, because people owning these NFTs, so these titles, it's pretty easy to communicate with them, to know them, to know their taste, to ask them questions. So that is a great channel of communication as well.
And generally as well, because it's it's not material. We see that most of NFTs will actually be linked with a live experience that is offered to the customers.
Yes, and it's also a new way then to consume the wine. I would just add on top what you said, that it's probably reaching a new audience as well, probably younger, more techno freaks, at least at the beginning before it becomes mainstream. But it's probably a new audience as well, a new type of consumers that we're reaching there.
Through the wine tech, you have 110 startups around you. How many of them included digital elements to their projects?
We saw last year probably jumping on board around 10 companies, 10 startups working only on those technologies. Some are totally new, and some are startup that used to use different other technologies and now moving to this technology. So it goes very, very fast. That's the tech world. People like to try new things, build a company around it. If it works, if it's successful, it can become a unicorn. And if it's not, then it's over, and then it's gone, and it's too late, and that's it. So that's the speed of adoption in the tech world. It goes very, very fast. But already 10 companies, very, very serious companies, great technologies, and they all participated to this white paper that we just launched. You can see their comments, you can see the name of the CEOs, you can see their if you read the book, you can understand their philosophy, what they're trying to achieve. I mean, it's fascinating. I'm always fascinated by people creating new things, and here using those technology, adapting into wine, it's just fantastic. That can impact on the long term the wine business in a good way.
What is the most futuristic, creative wine startup project that you witnessed?
I was to leave a little bit the NFT world, and I'm always very fascinated about robots. It's a real problem we're trying to solve here. We are lacking people to drive machines in the vineyards, and some works people do by hand are very, very hard to do. And if we can have machines that just replace and work 24 hours a day, weekends when needed, it's always good to have and to leave manhood for the very specific and delicate tasks. Seeing a robot working in the vineyard, it's just fantastic the way it goes alone, autonomously, electric, of course, zero carbon footprint. I mean, this is absolutely fascinating. And this probably is going to take a few more years because it becomes massive, because this is still very, very expensive, and only top wineries can afford those robots. But the way they work, the way they're so delicate, the way that they're taking care of the vineyard is just absolutely mind-blowing, and I love to see those machines working in the field.
What unknown, and why not crazy, future tech innovation could change the landscape in wine in the next 50 years?
So that would be my own personal feelings. We have no theory, and I can't speak here in the name of the wine tech. But I think that the everything which is around what containing the wine container. So today we have glass, which is great, but it's heavy. It's a lot of carbon footprint. It's breakable. It's difficult to reuse. So I think that probably if we can find different way to carry the wine, the container material, will it be? I don't know, but something around that will be just fantastic. And the 1/3 of the carbon footprint of a bottle is coming from the glass itself.
Right.
Someone can find a great idea here to reduce it. I think that would be a major hit. So let's see. Maybe it's a contest. We should launch there.
Thank you so much, Laurent. We really look forward to read the white book.
They're just so creative that it gives a lot of inspiration. So you're more than welcome.
Thank you very much, Laurent.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into Wines of the Future. Don't miss the next episode and subscribe to this podcast. You can also leave us a comment and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Vinexposium.